Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar. We are going to wait just a few minutes for everyone's computers to get connected and get logged in, and we will get this show on the road. Super excited to share with you our text messaging product and talk a little bit about the background and everything we have been working on. And we have a few surprises in order as well. So we are super excited to talk more. Again, I'm going to wait just a few minutes. It does take a while for people's computers to get connected. We have a big room, by far one of the largest webinars that we've had in quite some time. So we are waiting to fill in. Okay, for everyone who just joined in the last few seconds, we're just waiting a couple of minutes here as we watch everyone's computers connect. We're watching the attendee list jump up here. So as soon as that stabilizes, we'll get everything started. Super excited to share with what we have, but I still see some people joining. Numbers are moving up pretty quickly here, so hopefully we can get started very soon. And actually, while I am waiting, in the chat, if you guys want to just give me a thumbs up that you can hear me. I see a lot of chats going on and hellos. All right, cool. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, it looks like you can hear me. Our attendee list has stabilized. Looks like we have quite a few people in attendance and we are ready to rock. So welcome to the webinar. Very excited to be here. Today, we're going to be talking about our text messaging rollout and essentially building better relationships with text messaging. I am Tori Mertz. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Rocket Referrals, and I'm really excited to walk you through this personally and also be available to answer any questions that you have. Also, with me in chat, I have Carl. Carl Mertz, my brother and co-founder. He's in chat listening to questions and can help answer those. And I have a couple of other people in chat as well. So please use chat to answer questions. And if I see anything that we don't get to in chat as we go through, I'll try and answer live, towards the end. So to get started, one thing that you probably noticed here on the first slide, we led with building better relationships, and text messaging really is kind of in small letters here. This is on purpose, and the reason that we did that is because it's all about relationships. Everything that we do, we work very hard for you. Our job is to make sure that we're always thinking about how we can get the most out of your customer relationships, and then using technology to do those things. So we always start with better relationships, and it's really no secret that better relationships help improve retention, they increase your cross sells, they help you get more referrals. And it's a no-brainer that companies that are investing in the customer experience and communications and really improving client relationships do better than their competitors. We see it time and time again. The really cool part about having so many people on our platform is we can analyze a lot of data, and we're able to see that truly companies that are focused on these relationships and investing in those are doing better. The retention improves, the cross sales improve. There's a lot of smart things to do with improving relationships. However, How do we do it? And I think that it's really important for you to understand that as we're thinking about customer relationships and how to improve it, we're always putting ourselves in the customer's shoes. We personally think, how does it feel when we're communicating with the business? So I think that just take a moment and as we're going through this slide, step out of your business owner's shoes for just a second and put yourselves in the consumer shoes and think about what it's like when you communicate with the business. Is there a real person on the other end? Do you know anything about that person? Do they know you? When you are texting with an account rep for some business, do you know who you're actually communicating with, as an example? But more importantly, do you feel like they know you back? Are you just a number? Are you a customer? Do you have one-on-one attention? As a consumer, are you able to communicate with businesses and feel like they are speaking to you as an individual? And how many different ways can you communicate with that person? Do they force you down one path, or do you communicate in multiple different ways for what's convenient with you at the time or what your preference is? And is the communication clear and consistent? I think that one important thing about building better relationships and feeling like people are taking care of you is that you're clear with what you are going to do and you're consistent with that. And is the communication self-serving or is it empathetic? This is very important. I think that oftentimes we think a lot about the modes at which we're communicating, whether it's on email or text or cards or social media. But the mode is really only a little bit of it. It's very important to think about are they empathetic to your situation? Is the communication being done in a way that is customer focused or not? And I have a few examples here to kind of think about. Sometimes it's a little bit easier when we put ourselves in a particular perspective. So when you're talking with these groups, Amazon.com, you would say that they have decent customer service, maybe. I think that they're pretty efficient in what they do. They have to be because they have so many customers. But do you know the person that you're talking with? When you have a chat with them or you call them or email them, do you really know who is on the other end? And do they care about you, or is it really about their bottom line? Are they trying to figure out how to process returns efficiently? Or do they really care about you? Is it self-serving? Who does Amazon serve? Does Amazon serve you, or do they serve themselves? Every business is a business and you have to run an effective business, but how it's done is important. So let's think of another example. Zappos. By a show of hands in the chat, how many people have purchased something from Zappos? Seeing some hands raised. They are famous for amazing customer service. And that's really what they focus on. Now, the neat thing about Zappos is they build it into their culture. They literally will pay someone to leave the second that they hire them. So employees will come and they'll say, hey, we'll give you $1,500 to quit the company right now. What that does is it forces people to, it doesn't force them, but it filters out people that want to work there because they're willing to give that kind of thing up. But when you're communicating with Zappos as a customer, do you feel like they care about you? Are they personal and empathetic? More importantly, are they easy to contact? Well, Zappos happens to be owned by Amazon. So this is a really good example. I did this on purpose because there's two very good examples for how a company has very similar ways to communicate, but they go about it differently. Zappos definitely treats you more like an individual, is empathetic of your situation, and they understand that people may want to buy shoes, buy 3 different sizes of shoes to find the one that fits and then send back the others, and they want to reduce that hassle. Yes, their business does better, but they do those things because they're empathetic and they understand you. So let's use another example. How about the last car dealer that you purchased from? What was that experience like? Would you say that they were empathetic, that they were self-serving or pressured? The interesting thing about this is the car dealers that I hopefully, I have some people in the audience that are like, oh, my car dealer is the best. I love going to them. Well, there's a reason they still have a job and they're doing what they're doing, because they probably treated you with empathy and they were trying to help you go through that. Actually, this is a little test. Show of hands in the audience, how many people had a good experience with the car dealer? Let's see what happens. A few. That's good. So you have some, but also I saw some pressure. So how many people have now had some? I should have done a poll for this, Nick. But how many people feel pressured or kind of stressed about going that? Yeah, hate it. Yeah. So Carvana is the best. I saw that come through, and that's because you know, you can do it all without working with a salesperson, and they do that. They're literally Carvana is going to the market because they know people feel that way. But the interesting point I'm trying to make here is the first time I asked, we had a lot of people in the audience that like it, and that's because their car dealer did it the right way. And so it's not necessarily about the way that they're communicating. It's not about the thing that they're doing or what they're using to communicate. It's really about how they go about it. And so the last example I have is your family. I'm not going to poll and ask how many people had a bad experience communicating with their family, because I'm pretty sure everybody would raise their hand. But at the end of the day, these are the people that we love, and they know how to communicate with us the best. So, you know, obviously they know you, they're empathetic, but most importantly, they have the right timing. They know when to bring something to you and when not. You know, they know when you're busy, when you're stressed, and maybe they should avoid something. They know when the right times are. So it's really all about a timing with your family and understanding who you are. And so everything that we do, honestly, is to try and get as close to this bottom section here. We want to help people feel like, you know, you are their family, because we know that when communicating with customers as if they're family is empathetic, and it builds better long-term relationships with customers. And yet we also want to make it really easy to do business with someone like, you know, Zappos and that kind of thing. So this is our goal. This is what we're striving for, and everything that we do really is to focus that. And so again, I'm going to kind of summarize this point here is Amazon, Zappos, car dealer, and your family, they all communicate using email, phone, text, cards, you know, the whole range of communications. And the difference is it's not about the type of communications, it's about how you use it. And so this has been the thing that has been pushing us, you know, with text messaging, say it's not just about releasing texting. We can't just say, hey, we have texting capabilities, turn it on and let people go out. We have to make sure that we're very thoughtful about a lot of different things, especially around how the customer is going to interact with it, how it's going to be used. So quick poll here. How many are currently using text messaging at their business? Yes, plan to. No, did at one time, but stopped. Let's see, polls are coming up. I had to hit start poll, Nick. Oh, there we go. Now I see it. So a lot of you are, some of you are planning to. Looks like most of you are planning to. Oh, we have another poll that's going too, and that's asking for marketing consent. So if you see that one, I'm going to get to consent here in a little bit as well. But I'm going to come back and reference this poll because it's really important as you know, as we get into it. So, okay, so the results of the first poll. We have about half of you are texting currently. And my guess is that's with a current texting platform or even through personal texting. You have, you know, and between planning to and not, you know, makes up the other half basically. So we are, you know, basically split in the room between, you know, those two platforms. So I kind of talked about this slide already. Since day one, we've really been focused on humanizing communication. It's really the point of what we're trying to do. We don't just make tools that deliver communications. We build things that work well together. I think is one of the most important things that you'll see with all of our things is because we don't just do one thing. We make sure that all of the pieces of communication fit really well and provide that experience to customers that they would expect. Again, and because we're doing those things and we're able to understand all of the customer data, we know really what to say and who to say it for, who to say it to, and when to say it for the best impact. So we're really trying to maximize the impact by understanding the data and using all of the different types of communications we can. So just real quick, I'm going to lead with these last few questions, to think again, when's the last time, and we, as you guys know, in our email platform, we don't have email like HTML formatted things because when's the last time your brother designed a fancy email with HTML and ask you a quick question? That doesn't happen. So the reason we have plain text emails is because it really is more personal and authentic, and that's what we're going for there. Who cares about you more? The old friends on Facebook who post the quick HBD post, and so my kids had to tell me what HBD was, that it's happy birthday, and they'll just text HBD on your birthday on Facebook. Or is it your aunt who sends you a card every year? Who makes you feel better? And who's more likely to buy from again? Who are you more likely to buy from again? The company that asks for your feedback and listens, or the company that just ignores you? Again, it's not about the type of communication. It's really about how you use it that matters. And so that's been the thing that has guided us as we went into this platform. So how does text messaging fit in? Well, let's talk about strengths of text messaging. One of the important things here is thinking about, what is text messaging good at? Well, one, an immediate response. When you're texting with people, you can get this response right away because it's on their phone. And by immediate, what I mean is a lot quicker than other ways. It's not instant. It takes some time for people to actually read it and get to it when they want to. Another strength is it forces concise messages. You have to be very thoughtful about what you're saying because you have limited space to say it. It's always available. People have their phone on them all the time. It's something to think about as well in the timing of when you deliver things. I'll talk a little bit about that. And there's less clutter. Compared to email, for example, people have fewer text message conversations than they do email spam and that kind of thing. Another reason that there's a lot less clutter is because cellular providers are really good at blocking messages and filtering out spam more so than on email. It's just quite frankly easier to do because messages are concise and it's easier to filter that stuff out. And some people really prefer it over email or phone. However, I think the word of advice here is not all people prefer texting over email and phone. And in fact, some people feel like it's intrusive. I think that we have been fed a lot of stats and important things about text messaging to say, hey, text messaging is so great. But it's also important to know that there's a group of people that don't want text messaging. So if someone opts out of your messages and doesn't want to get text messages from you, that's a good thing. Let's communicate with them in a way that's a little bit different. So I guess the point is there are are you always available? I think that because someone can text you all the time, if you have to make sure that you're available or they understand those things as well. So it's really easy to set up a voicemail in your phone number when you leave the office, but it's not so easy to do that through text message. Now, for the most part, we think that, and we've seen that people, when they know they're responding to a business, do have some boundaries, and they don't necessarily expect a response right away. But one of the convenient things is they can text at a time that's maybe not convenient for you and get the message to you. And then when you can respond, they can text back. So because it's what we like to call, and this is a really technical term, but an asynchronous conversation, meaning you don't have to be connected at the same time. Whereas a phone call, you both have to have the time available to make that. Whereas with a text message, you can, send it and then, get to it when it's there. So sometimes poor delivery at the carrier. Carriers are very notorious for blocking messages from people. Believe it or not, they're even blocking some personal messages. You just may or may not know it. Not very many, but sometimes they do get blocked. They also implement new things at the carrier level to help with TCPA and other laws. So for example, if you text stop to a number right now, your carrier will actually block it and not send any other messages from that number automatically. Well, some carriers do. So your applications have to be ready to handle that. And how do you know what people prefer? So kind of going back to the strengths, actually, let me go to this next slide here. Kind of comparing these two. Well, if the strength is some people prefer it, and then also one of the weaknesses, how do you know what people prefer? Well, you have to think about that because you don't necessarily want to text to people that are preferring other types of communication. So let's talk about our platform now and the things that we built into our features and overall, and then I'm going to show you how some of this really works. So one, we know who to communicate with and when. We already have some pretty neat things in place that have an algorithm that can determine who should we be sending communication to, who should we be sending a survey to or a view request and that type of thing. We're using those proven algorithms and enhanced it with text messaging. So now maybe instead of an email, they're getting a text. And again, that's where we determine the email and text preferences. So you already are communicating with customers through email. And for example, we're getting a really big response rate for surveys. And so when email is working, we're going to stick with it. And because we can monitor the response of any communication that we send, we can determine whether or not people stop interacting with the particular thing. So when people stop interacting with email or it's not available, we try text message. And then if text isn't working, we try email. This is a really, really neat thing in our program that essentially is going to learn over time what someone's preference is. This is the whole machine learning type of thing. People like to throw out the fancy algorithms and words and names. I like to talk about your benefits. And really what it means is we are going to help determine what the email and text preferences are for your customers. So you don't need to decide per communication what is best to send. So just like we already know when to send it, we're going to know what to send. And again, we've already pre-written text messages for you that are human, they're empathetic, they're concise, and they're effective. We've been testing them and they're working. We use some neat emojis in there, and I'm really happy with our text messages that we have written. And I think that your customers are going to love them as well. And the last piece is that it's native. So a lot of platforms, when you send something through a text message, you need to click on a link. Reviews, you're still going to need to click on a link because that needs to go to Google, and we cannot collect a review for Google through a text message. It has to go to Google. But the good thing is they have a really nice mobile experience that we can link through. NPS without links, though, this is really, really cool system where you can actually send someone the NPS question, how likely are you to recommend? And as they respond, it will ask them the follow-up questions inside of Rocket Referrals, and you'll watch your NPS scores build from text message. And the really neat part about that is all of the things that you already love about NPS are going to automatically flow through the text message. So if they leave a testimonial, it's going to get published to your website. I think personally, it's one of the coolest things I've seen, where when I'm testing this, I can put out a demo or an NPS, I answer it on my phone, I see that testimonial come in, I publish it, and there it is on the website. To get that person's comments from my phone to my website in just a matter of seconds is really, really cool. So here's a couple of other things about our platform. First of all, every employee and the company has their own phone number. So that's going to allow each employee to have one-on-one conversations and manage them as a team. So if I go on vacation, I might have an individual number that I communicate with. However, if I'm using my personal cell phone now, and I go on vacation, I'm getting all those texts and forwarding them to my colleagues if I need to manage something. However, all of the company's conversations are going to be in one place, and then based on access, I guess my next slide. Yeah, based on access, they can respond that they can assign those conversations to other employees to help service those. So if someone goes on vacation, someone at the company can monitor their number and then assign them to other people or respond to them themselves. And the neat part about how they respond is it comes from that other employee's number. It comes from the number that they're communicating with. So they don't have the customer doesn't have a new conversation window on their mobile phone to manage. All of it's just baked right in. So last but not least, and actually not exactly last, because I'm not talking about all of the features here, we'd be here all day, but we have the TCPA compliant. It is TCPA compliant and ready, and I'm going to talk about that in some detail. Essentially what that means is it allows you to send individual texts without consent, or marketing messages with consent. TCPA, well, I'm going to get into detail here, but really the neat part is we've been able to find a way to configure Rocket Referrals to give you control how you want to use this. And I think it's really, really neat. And we also help you manage, and here's the cool thing, collect consent out of the box. We can help you collect consent from customers. And this is probably one of the coolest things we've added to the platform. But let's walk through the experience of how this thing actually works. First of all, you're going to have toll-free local numbers or bring your own. Now, bring your own's coming soon. There's some porting things that we're working with on our carrier to make that happen, and some hosted services things. However, our plans are to also integrate with existing services. So the idea is if you're using Ring Central, if you are using other platforms, we can integrate with that, use your existing lines, and still use our automations. Toll-free is where the industry is going for text messaging. Every carrier I've spoken with has urged us to consider toll-free, and also for you to consider toll-free. It's going to have the best delivery. It's recommended for business lines, and for us anyway, there's no additional cost. I mean, there's additional cost for Rocket Referrals, but there's no additional cost for you. So toll-free is the way to go if you want the best delivery. However, there's still a need for local numbers if you want to get numbers into your local area code. I think that's still a viable and important option to have. Okay. Every employee has their own number. We kind of talked about this. No more using your own personal number. So we give you a set number of lines, and it's very easy to choose that number and then also reassign that phone number to someone else. So there's no calling up a carrier or anything like that to move a number around. It's literally you go into the number in Rocket Referrals, you change who you want it to go to, and it's that simple. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, go back a slide. Calls get redirected to this person's phone number in Rocket Referrals. So if a customer feels like they should call this number, then it will get redirected to that line, which I think is also really important. So text-enabled Net Promoter Surveys, already talked about that. This is a very quick screenshot of what the template edit page will look like. Where before you only had emails. So now there's a new tab for you to choose text message and whether or not you want that to be enabled. And then you can edit that text message and change it however you would like. We, again, have always worked really hard to provide content for you, so you don't necessarily need to work on the messages yourselves. We've done that for you. So there's some really cool enhancements with this text message that I think you're gonna love, that are really important with text messaging. So remember when I said we could have just released text messaging and not think about the little things, but the little things matter. So for example, inside of this template now, it will actually look at when is the last time we texted with this person. And if it's been a while, we introduce you and your company. Because who wants to get a text message from someone that's not in their phone book and are like, who is this? You know, I don't even know if I would recommend you. So if there hasn't been a communication, it says, hey, this is Joe at Rocket Referrals, or this is Tori at Rocket Referrals. You know, we just sent a survey. We're hoping that you would respond, and then the survey goes through. So some really neat things. And the cool thing about that is all of those features are also available inside of email templates. So you can, inside of your emails now, say, when was the last time this person got a text message, and then change the copy in there, which is really neat. And also another neat thing in here is we had to give you the ability to say in the template, who is this coming from? Is it a person or a company? Because that changes what you say. It's different than, you know, if you say, hey, this is the team at Rocket Referrals, or this is Tori at Rocket Referrals, the message is different. So you need to have a variable to change that. And so that is now available in all of our templates as well. So all these little things make the conversation really effective with people. And review requests, of course. This is probably one of the top requested review requests, or the top requested things. So we're super excited to do this one because there's really not anything extra that you have to do here to start getting reviews through text message in Rocket Referrals. You just go in here and you enable this, and the template is ready to go. And it's going to start sending people to your review sites through text message. And we're really excited to release that. And most review sites that we're going to, Google, Facebook, and a couple of others, are all mobile optimized as well. So we make sure to pick the mobile optimized link that we should send them to, and send them to that platform. So probably one of the coolest parts of our UI is the real-time conversations with clients. This is so cool to watch, because you come in here and this is something we really had to improve our infrastructure from and build real-time communication. So this page has even the sort of a full screen view. Now let me see if I can turn on drawing here. Right there, it's red. But if you click that guy, this opens up the conversation window in a full screen view. And then as people text you, immediately those conversations show up here. So we're really excited to add that. And that means we're going to be adding a lot more real-time things in Rocket Referrals as we go through the system. So you can obviously start new conversations from this page as well. You'll be able to text any number that you would like and assign the conversations to anyone else. If you do get texts from numbers that are not in your system, from contacts that are not in your system, we don't automatically create a contact for you. We don't want you to get spammed and automatic, you know, and then all of a sudden your contact plan goes out the roof and you have to upgrade. We don't want that. So we don't charge, you know, for contacts for people that are not linked. What happens is we pull up caller ID. So we use caller ID to help identify the person, and then we put that in the list, and then you can still have a conversation with that person there. I do say, you know, I warn a little bit about using caller ID because sometimes it's not really effective. People we'll share cell plans and things like that. So it's not always perfect, but you will at least have a good start sometimes. Pick an emoji ready. So send all the cat pics and smiles that your heart's desire. The thing is, we know that people use this for real legit business purposes, not just cat pics, and it's ready inbound and outbound. So you'll be able to send MMS messages to your clients and also receive them. So let's talk real quick about TCPA, because I think that it's a very important conversation to have. And let me pull up my other poll earlier. I wanted to have another poll. So earlier we asked, have you asked for text messaging marketing consent? Wow, good job. 23% of you said yes, you are. That's fantastic. And yes, with some clients, on 38. And then so half either are or do with some, and we got 47% are not, and 32% needs help. Or sorry, 14% needs help. And so we can help with that. And I want to talk real quick about the history of TCPA. So TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, really it's actually a very old law. It's been changed a lot recently, or there's litigation that's, interpreting the law recently, but it really came about when companies were using computer systems and other things to automatically dial numbers for random people and call their house and ask them, if they would buy their products and services. So these were systems that would randomly create numbers or sequentially go through the numbers, literally start with 1111111, then 1111112, and so on and so forth until they reached every person. And the FCC jumped in and they said, no, we have to stop this. This isn't good, because if people are ignoring calls and communication, then we don't have the ability of communicating with the public, and this is not a good thing. Calls, our telephone system needs to be used for real legitimate purposes. And so they put the law in place and it worked really well, but then all of a sudden text messaging came along, and the law was not written for text messaging. And so there's a lot of courts that are really trying to figure out, where does this law apply to text messaging? Essentially, TCPA helps us determine whether, we should not text people or send me all the spam that we possibly can. And courts are really split on this decision. There's some districts or some circuits that are really conservative, and they've made decisions that make it difficult to market in those areas. And there's others that are a little bit more open. And I don't say open necessarily. They've interpreted the law a little bit differently. And I am not kidding you. There is litigation around the placement of a comma in the TCPA law and how that implies to what an auto dialer is. Getting in the weeds here for what TCPA is. But there's even some litigation that's going to find its way to the Supreme Court very soon. But the fact of the matter is, courts are ranged here. So if courts can't decide, what are you to do? We're a business. We have things that we need to do. So what we decided was, well, we are going to build a system that allows us to fit within a range. And then as a business, we can work with people to figure out, where are you? Are you here? Do you require full written consent for every person, no matter what you're texting? Are you here where maybe you can do single opt-ins and kind of change how you get consent? However, there's one thing: we don't let you go over here. Rocket Referrals has to protect our network. We have to make sure that you're not spamming people and things like that. So we have some requirements, but the cool thing is our system is really designed to allow you to fit in here where you want to be. And so let's talk about some of those features and what that really means for TCPA. I boiled it down to three main things. First of all, you can import your existing opt-ins using our import process, even if you have a management system integration with Rocket Referrals, we can still take a file exported from your system that has mobile numbers and opt-in flags and bring it into Rocket Referrals without any problem. You can also opt in an entire list. So you can build a list in Rocket Referrals and then opt in that entire list in one, one fell swoop. And now here's the piece that's going to help people collect opt-ins. Any client can text the word join to any number in your Rocket Referrals account, and then you can choose whether you want a single or double opt-in. And we manage that opt-in process for you, so we can actually help you get opt-ins. But on top of that, we also have an email that we can use to send your clients. And it's one of my favorite emails that we have written that talks about how you are bringing convenience in text messaging to them so they can communicate with you when it's important. All they have to do is text join to the number that you have, and they will immediately opt in and be ready to go. If you go into your account, look at this email, it's probably the best email we've written, so I'm really excited about that. And then we also allow opt-out at any time. This is the thing at the end where I say, hey, we have to protect our network. So we do allow people to opt out at any time. They can reply stop, stop all, unsubscribe, and that kind of thing. We're ready to go. And here's the kicker. If we look at our TCPA board, TCPA really regulates what we call auto-dialing systems. And an auto-dialing system is a system that automatically finds someone to call and does something with it. But when a user interacts with it, when you are saying who you want to communicate with and for what purpose, and you're putting in their phone number or searching for their name, it's no different really than finding them in a contact book and sending them a text. And therefore, we do allow you to manually send messages one-on-one without opt-in. So that means when you schedule communication, we may give you a warning that says, hey, this person has not opted in. However, so we cannot send it automatically for you. However, you can click here to send now, and that will allow that person to get that text message. So that, I think, sort of helps us stay inside of this boundary here and make sure that we work how you want to work and what's important for your customers, and still protect you from the laws and make sure that we are doing the things that are required for the law. Okay, so let's talk about our plans, our text messaging plans. So right now, if you go into Rocket Referrals, you'll see an upgrade for our plan. Essentially, text messaging is going to be $15 per month for every additional employee. I'm honestly really excited to offer that price because, again, Rocket Referrals is about adding things to your business. And we know that if you use all of your text messages, we're probably not going to make much on it. But the point is not here. This is not a profit center for us. We're not here to charge. Rocket Referrals is not here to make money off of text messaging. Let's put it that way. Instead, we're trying to bring new products and services to you. So we're charging you for what you'll use, meaning a lot of people will charge $50, $150, $300 a month, and higher for plans that have unlimited text messaging and things like that. Well, it's unlimited, but if you read their terms of use, it's not really, and you're paying for that, but you may not be using it. So we have a plan that lets you start using text messaging for people that aren't going to have a huge, huge volume of text messaging. This is really good for you to get started and add it in. And as you grow over that, we have another plan that's available to you. So this plan that I'm showing you here has all of the stuff built in that I was talking about. And by $195, I should say that includes one employee on that cost. So if it's just you, if you have one agent, then you actually get a number for your company and a personal number. And then it would be $15 for every additional employee over that. So Pro Premium is, and here's some of the special stuff that I said we have coming. So first of all, Pro Premium includes double the text messages for every employee. So that's one important thing. And today we are releasing an enhanced NPS dashboard. And I do not have a screenshot of it in my presentation, unfortunately. So I apologize for that. But this enhanced dashboard has been, we have been training an AI algorithm for the last year and a half, actually, looking at all of the survey responses that come into Rocket Referrals. And it's a lot of data that we're crunching. And we take those survey responses and we break those down into comments, specific themes and topics, and show you how you are doing in a particular area, such as, how are you doing with responsiveness or general service, or how are you doing with knowledge? How knowledgeable do people see you, and that type of thing. So that's and the reason that we didn't really want to talk too much about it today, because you came here for text messages. That's what we want to talk about. But in Pro Premium, you get that feature, you get the added text messages, and you have a couple of other cool things that are coming right now. They're not coming, but they are available now. With Pro Premium, you're going to be able to change the content, the template, based upon a list that someone's on. So if you've ever thought, hey, I would really want to have my welcome email say this for commercial lines and this for personal lines, you can do that now. And in fact, you can create as many different types of templates based upon lists that you want. And you can have more list automation. So as people are added or removed from those lists, you can schedule things to go to them. And so we're really excited to release this feature as well. So today is a really big day for new features, and we hope that you'll check those out. So real quick, some things that are coming soon for text messaging. One, we're going to text enable more communications and add bulk texting. We haven't added bulk texting out of the gate because we want to give you some time to get those opt-ins in there, get that process kind of flowing, and then you'll be able to hook up list automations and things with text messaging, and then also be able to send people text on a list. Then we're going to be releasing a mobile app for you to access these conversations quickly on your phone. It's interesting because as I was speaking with some people about this feature, they actually said, I don't want the mobile app. When I go home, I want to I want to not worry about these conversations. So if that's you, you don't have to install it, but there's some people out there that may like to have access to these conversations on their phone, just like iMessage. In fact, it's going to be very similar to iMessage or the messaging app on Android. So think of it like that, as a wall between your personal communications on your phone and your business communications on your phone. And last but not least, you'll be able to build your own text bots. This is probably something that will be in our premium Pro Plus premium plan here, but you'll be able to actually, if you've ever wanted to say text a quote to this number, then you'll be able to do that with Rocket Referrals. And we're really excited to release that type of thing as well. And you'll be able to build those bots yourself, and then have those apply to all of the numbers in your account or a specific number. So we're really excited about that as well. So with that said, upgrade. We made a quick link for you if you go to rocketreferrals.com/upgrade, or you can email us at help@rocketreferrals.com. We can help set up a time and walk you through that process. I've been talking a lot, so I'm going to go over to the chat here and let's see what kind of questions I have here. Public. I'm just going to actually go from the bottom up. So let's see, we have, can we turn off the ability to send cat pics? Well, we can't turn off the ability to send text. Maybe we could turn off MMS, but I don't know if we're going to invest in cat AI yet to determine what it is. Can we see a few more examples of the pre-written text? Justin, yes, I don't have my webinar set up to do that right now. We had so many people on that we had to kind of streamline. There you go, Matthew, no cat. We had to streamline the presentation to make it work. But we're happy to share some of those examples with you when you give us a call or email. Oh, we have a Q&A tab. Oh, okay. New, answered. Oh, we have a lot of them that are answered over here. So great work, team. Let's see, published, archive, new. I'm just going to keep looking in chat, see what I find here. However, that's really about it. Oh, integration for applied. If you don't have any questions or you're not interested, we're certainly pretty much wrapped up. But I'm going to scroll through these. So any integration with applied systems, Derek, I would love to integrate with applied. There's always ways that we can make things work. We don't have a direct integration with applied with text messaging currently. We do have ways to get contact data in and out, and I believe we'll be able to get opt-in information from applied systems as well. Of course, any connections that you guys have with management systems, we're happy to take those connections and people and make that happening. Anthony, how long for the Ring Central integration? It's definitely on our priority list. If I told you how long it was going to be, I would probably be lying to you because we don't release things until they're ready. But what I can tell you is it's in active development. So it's something that we're working on, and we do things quickly. So I'm going to say within the next month or two in general. Clarify the opt-in feature. Do all of your contacts have to opt in first before we can text them? So Charlie, no. Technically speaking, they do not all have to text in before you can. So we do have an email that you can send to people to have them opt in so that we can help you collect those opt-ins. We will not send an automated message unless we have an opt-in flag for them. However, you can manually send any communication yourself. So it's just not legal to send automated messages without opt-in. So we don't allow that, but you can manually send them. So if you have review requests and things like that that are important to go out, let us schedule them for you, and you can see in your communications tab the things that need to go, and then you can send them out manually. So you might be in there, or someone might be in your account for a few minutes to do that on a regular basis. But I would recommend collecting opt-ins. Collecting opt-ins is going to be very similar to collecting email addresses. 10 years ago, we're all like, hey, we need to get email addresses for our clients. Well, now your email collection needs to include texting opt-in. But also remember, people that don't opt in, if you give them an opportunity to opt in and they choose not to, that's okay. What they're doing is they're indicating preference to you. And so that just means that you need to use other means to communicate with them, such as email, cards, and other things like that. So I think that we sometimes may get frustrated that people are not opting in, but that's okay. You just might have people that are of a different segment that don't prefer texting. And that's good, because if you texted with them and they didn't prefer it, it wouldn't work anyway. We already have a text number we use at Easy Links. Are we able to use the same number for this new text feature in Rocket Referrals? So Danielle, our plan here is to integrate with providers like that and send our communication through those text lines. And that would be what we think when we bring over an existing line. It would essentially be, hey, is this a Ring Central line? Is this an Easy Links line? And that type of thing, and then allow an integration to do that. I have a couple of providers that we're working with on that type of feature now. I don't want to say their names because I don't want to hold their feet to the fire or anything, but that's the plan. We think that our automation and our bots and our intelligence behind the scene are really the important thing. We don't necessarily want to be a carrier. So if someone else has the line and we can integrate with it, that's where we want to be. Any changes to integration of QQCast and the updated Rocket Referrals? Yes, so we have already updated the integrations that we can to, first of all, retrieve mobile numbers if they are there, and also opt-ins if they are available. Because opt-ins are relatively new, sometimes they're not in the API and that type of thing. So it's something that we have tried to make flexible in Rocket Referrals so that if we can call up the provider and get, well, I'll give you an example. IMS, Xanatech, for example, we have a really nice integration with them. However, their opt-in information is not available in the integration at the moment. However, they do have a report we can run and get opt-in information, and then update that in Rocket Referrals. And it's not something that needs to happen on a regular basis. It will happen, maybe monthly or something, to kind of bring new people in, maybe more frequently if you'd like to. Follow up on the last opt-in question. What if we have never asked before? Do we need to go through our client list manually, or is there a way to ask in your system? There's definitely a way to ask in our system. We have an email that you can send. You can build a list in Rocket Referrals and say, give me all of my customers that have not already opted in, and then send them an email that says, hey, we're releasing a new texting ability for you. It's going to be really convenient for you to text with us. Just text the word join to this number, and then we automatically opt people in for you. So we made that very, very easy for you, and I think that it's one of the most valuable pieces of the platform. Can you enroll me in the texting option from your side? I would like to see how it performs from the consumer perspective. So Kyle, yes, we'll send you a text. And actually, let me see if I tell you a number right now, I'm going to get too many calls. I have too many people on this webinar. So, Kyle, we'll do this personally, or if anybody else wants to see it, we'll help you demo that, as we go through it. You almost got me there, Kyle. I see what you were trying to do there. How about Hawksoft and using the number we're already using with them to text? So Robert, again, that's one of the things that I would love to work with Hawksoft on, to use their number, to build an integration with them very similar to RingCentral, and send it through their platform, and then everything sort of goes into one place. So we definitely have the capability to do that, and our system's open, ready to go. We just need to make sure we open those channels up there. So Jeff, is there a voicemail drop function? I'm assuming you're saying, hey, I have this pre-recorded voicemail, I want to call and leave it on their phone. No, we do not have that capability at this time. It's not on our roadmap, unfortunately. This is really more for text messaging currently. Justin, can you clarify, when a client receives a text, will they see the message, or will they receive a link to view the text? When they receive a text, they receive the text. So there is no link to view the text. I'm trying to upgrade, but it's not letting me sign up one employee for this. So Nathan, we'll help you. We'll take care of that, definitely. Charles, is there a limit on characters in a text? Well, providers handle that differently. We use platforms that try and do the best to deliver the entire message that you send. We like to keep them short. We feel like if you can be under 140 characters, or not very much, that's ideal. That's going to get you like all of the carriers, but a lot of carriers split it out, so you can be a little bit longer, but you definitely do not want to go too long. But we do not limit it on the Rocket Referral side. It's more on the carrier side. How will it interface with Google reviews? We'd like them to leave reviews on Google for our company as well. How will that work? So Dale, basically what that does is we will send a text that would come from you. So say, hey, this is Dale, thank you for being a customer. We would love, I can't remember the exact text, but essentially it says, we would love if you'd share, some feedback with other people. And then another text comes through and it says, share your feedback on Google. And then it gives a link, and that link opens up the Google, the mobile optimized Google review platform. So it works very, very seamlessly. The other thing, Dale, is you can actually, if you look at a review request and we're showing you that we're going to send an email, you can hit send now and choose to send it as a text message instead. That's cool. Trial period on text. Pete, we do not have a trial period on text right now because we don't have any setup fees and things like that. But text numbers do have some costs to set up and things. But we're more than happy to kind of show you how the platform would work on one of our own demo accounts that we already have numbers purchased for and that kind of thing. Yes, Courtney, there is an option to double opt-in. We default to double opt-in. But you can change on a per number level, whether it's double or single opt-in. And for those of you that don't know the difference between double and single opt-in, let me explain for one moment what that is. So a double opt-in is used when you send a text message such as join to a specific number and it says, would you like to receive text messages from this company? Data, text messages, reply, data and message rates apply. Reply yes to confirm or stop to cancel. And then if they reply yes, we opt you in. So that's a double opt-in. Now a single opt-in is if that person texted join and they were opted in immediately. So the reason that we allow both is because of the regulation. The difference is, so there's some litigation out there and some circuits that say double opt-in is required because you cannot guarantee that the person received the email that explained what the join keyword did, and others are of a different vein. So we allow double and single. We default to double, which is the more conservative approach. Aaron, I'd like to see a more detailed demo from the client's perspective as well. You bet. Please email help@rocketreferrals.com and we can help, because that is something we can definitely do more personalized demo for you. The $195 and $215 is not in addition to the current monthly fee. That's the upgrade. So if you are on $150 plan and you want to go to text messaging, you go up to $195. So it's just an upgrade. So thank you, Robert. I should have been more clear about that in there. 2,500 contacts is not the max. You can add more contacts just like the normal plan. And Courtney, do you include text stop to blah, blah, blah every text? No, we do not. Yes, it's just the first one. So that's, and actually it's in the opt-in process that happens. So we're really excited about that piece. Okay, let me see here. Scrolling up to the questions now, I feel like I have made it through most of these questions, and you all have done an amazing job with questions. I feel like I was prepared with all of them. However, if you do have, hey Scott, they're in the Q&A. Okay, let's go to Q&A. I have new as empty here, so don't know what the extra questions would be. So I'm looking at my Q&A and they all say they're answered. So let me see. That one looks answered. We have a lot of questions over here, but it looks like my team's done a great job of answering them. If you don't feel like you had an answer, yeah, I clicked on all, but they're still saying, there we go. Is there a replay of this? So Justin, yes, there will be a replay and a recording we will make available. You should automatically get a link actually. So that's there. If you have a question that didn't get answered in Q&A and you'd like it to be answered right now, go ahead and throw it in chat real quick. Otherwise, we are really close to our time. Oh, we're over our time. So we're going to have to wrap up here pretty quick. Thank you all very, very much. And we love having you all as customers. And we work hard every day to make this product better for you. And we have not just your best interest in mind, but the best interest of your customers. And I promise you, that's the one thing I can promise you, is that we'll always do our best to bring you the new and best features for you and your customers. So thank you very, very much for joining us. And if I didn't get to any questions, please send us those to help@rocketreferrals.com, and I'll even jump in there personally and answer them if I need to. So thank you very much. Oh, Justin, one more. Is the one employee in addition to a company? Yes, it is. So Julie, you will by default have an employee number and a company number. So you don't need to pay extra for that company number. Other list of voice. Oh, Amy, I'll answer that question for you in a few weeks. We're working on what that platform is going to look for. So, oh, it looks like you're changing in the next few weeks. So, Amy, send us a note, or actually, yeah, send a note to help@rocketreferrals.com, and we can have a chat with that, and I'll ask you who you're going to, and we can figure that out. So, all right, everyone, thank you very, very much. I am super excited to bring this all to you and looking forward to helping you out. So have a great rest of your week, and we will talk to you soon.